Welcome back to Heavy Duty, where legends of the road and workhorses of the past come back to life. Today, we're going nearly a century back in time to look at one of the earliest American-built heavy-duty trucks that helped define long-haul freight and rugged hauling. This is the 1929 Kenworth Model B. A machine forged in the early years of industrial trucking, born in a time when horsepower meant muscle and reliability had to be earned every mile. In 1929, Kenworth was still a relatively new name. The company had formed just a few years earlier in Seattle, born from the Girlinger Motor Car Works and later renamed after its founders, Harry Kent and Edgar Worthington. They had a vision: build durable, custom-made trucks that could handle the punishing roads and steep grades of the Pacific Northwest. And that vision took shape with models like the Kenworth Model B. When you first see the Model B, it's clear this isn't just some vintage vehicle, it's a piece of American industrial history. The design is bold and utilitarian. It rides tall, with a boxy cab perched high above massive steel wheels wrapped in narrow, hard rubber tires. The front end is dominated by a vertical radiator grille framed by exposed metalwork and capped with a utilitarian badge. There's no chrome for flash here. This truck was built with purpose, not polish. Its long hood, square fenders, and external headlamps all scream 1920s industrial design. The chassis was strong, reinforced with riveted steel beams to handle the weight of heavy loads, timber, coal, produce, you name it. Kenworth built these trucks to be customized, so buyers could choose different body styles or frames depending on what they needed. But one thing always remained the same: this truck was built to work. Step up into the cab, literally, because you had to climb up to get in, and you're met with a basic, no-nonsense interior. There's no upholstery, no creature comforts, and no distractions. The cabin is steel and wood, with just a couple of gauges, a steering wheel as big as a ship's helm, and a gear shifter that towers up from the floor like a metal club. The seats? Flat, simple benches, sturdy enough for all-day use but far from plush. It was noisy, it was hot in summer and cold in winter, and it vibrated like a freight train, but that was part of the job. What the Model B lacked in comfort, it more than made up for in functionality and mechanical honesty. Every inch of the truck was designed to be repaired with simple tools and strong hands. Drivers of the time weren't just operators, they were mechanics, navigators, and often their own dispatchers. Under the hood, the 1929 Kenworth Model B was powered by a 6-cylinder gasoline engine. The exact specifications could vary depending on customer needs, but most engines of the time were capable of producing around 100 horsepower, more than enough for the era. The real advantage, however, came from the torque. These engines were built to haul, to move weight up and down hills without complaining, and to do it day after day in tough conditions. The truck came with a 4-speed manual transmission, and shifting it was a workout in itself. Double clutching was standard practice, and there were no synchromesh gears to make it easy. But once you got it into gear and got rolling, the Model B would cruise steadily and reliably at 25 to 35 miles per hour, slow by today's standards, but a game-changer in an era when most freight still moved by train or wagon. The suspension was leaf springs all around, rugged and stiff. Steering was manual and heavy, especially at low speeds, and braking was mechanical, not hydraulic, so it required real leg strength and careful planning to bring a loaded truck to a stop. But all these challenges were accepted by early truckers, because the Model B gave them something priceless: independence. It allowed companies and drivers to move goods on their own schedules, opening up new routes and opportunities. As for price, the 1929 Kenworth Model B would have cost somewhere between $2,000 to $3,000 depending on configuration. That may sound modest, but in today's money, you're looking at the equivalent of roughly $35,000 to $50,000. And that's before you customized it for your freight needs. But those who invested in a Kenworth knew what they were getting: a truck that was built to last, built to earn, and built to go where others couldn't. Today, finding a surviving 1929 Model B is incredibly rare. Most were worked into the ground, their steel frames repurposed or left to rust away. But a few still remain restored and preserved in museums or private collections. These machines stand as a tribute to the people who built America's infrastructure 1 mile, 1 load, and 1 long shift at a time. The Kenworth Model B represents more than early American trucking. It represents grit, determination, and the birth of long-haul independence. It's a machine that paved the way, quite literally, for the highway giants that would follow. And even now, nearly a century later, it still carries the spirit of what it means to be heavy duty. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into trucking history, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Heavy Duty. Drop a comment below with your favorite vintage workhorse or a piece of equipment you want us to feature next. Until then, keep it rolling and keep it heavy duty.